All right, so we are on lesson 0-16. The title of today is Opposites and Reciprocals. We are on standard B. Can I get a quiet raised hand for standard B? Ellery's on it. I see that hand, but I need to give you guys more time to think. What is standard B?
I think Aurelio just raised his hand.
Aurelio, what is standard B? Okay, India knows. There's only 2 people that know what standard B is. We've been on it for a while now. Okay, there's more hands. I don't always give it to whoever's first, and to prove that, I'm going to pick on Martin. Fractions. Yes, we are dealing with fractions today. And if you know what the word reciprocal means, then that makes a lot of sense why we're on fractions. All right, so I've already done the setup for you guys. Review. So you guys should know this, and in fact, you should know all the stuff for the lesson today. But review of the notes that we've already taken. An integer can always be turned into, do you guys know what I'm about to write here? A fraction. Into a fraction. And what do I mean by that? So if I have an integer, bless you. If I have a number, an integer, by the way, can we write this on the side? This guy right here, it's a z, it's a bold z. This is how you write a bold z. And if I had the time, I would make the z really thick, like this. But mathematics, they just write the z, let me try writing maybe a better one, like this. So it saves time for writing a bold z. This is the set containing integers. So if you see this symbol means integers. Integers can be 1, -13, 100. All of those are integers. It can't be a decimal. It can't be a fraction. 74 is an integer. Yep. So when I say an integer, you should be thinking of bold z. And when you get into higher math, I will be saying if you're in the set of z or the set of integers, and you should be able to relate those back and forth. Integers is z. So an integer. Someone give me an integer. Shout it out.
33.
I heard 5 first. And then I heard 33. So 5. Turn 5 into a fraction. 5 into a fraction is what? Just write it in your notes. You should know it. 5 turns into, and you guys should see this, 5/1. All right, so that's our bit of review. I want to talk about what an opposite is. Opposite. El opuesto, right? So in the real world, opposite has a lot of meanings. So maybe you're on a color wheel and you say the opposite of blue is that orange or something? So depending on what class you're in, opposite can mean different things. In mathematics, does anyone want to take a guess as what opposite means? I'll give you guys time to think about it. What does opposite mean? I see one hand, I see Colby's hand, I see India's hand. Opposite. I see Lorea's hand. We'll give it to India.
It's the opposite of the, let's say you have -2, it'd be 2.
Okay, so if it was -2, it'd turn into 2. Exactly. So kind of you're jumping across the number line. So I want to do a picture first. Let's go ahead and get a line going here. And you can make a little number line with me if you'd like. The opposite, what I really mean by this is if I have the 0 and I have the number 7 or something, the opposite of 7, I do the opposite on the other side of the 0. I jump over the 0. That's what the opposite or what it looks like in a picture. So -7 and 7, these are opposites of each other. They can go back and forth between -7 and 7. So in a rule, to just write down the rule, can someone make that for us? Because India had a really great example. You just have, I forget what number you use, but you basically change it from like a 3 to a -3 or a -3 to a 3. Can someone create a rule that we can write down in our notes? A nice, concise rule, like in a sentence. I want you guys to think about it. How can we make a rule that says, this is what you do when I ask for an opposite? I see one hand. I'm giving you guys more time to think. I see Anna's hand. I see India's hand. I see Ellery's hand. Think about it, guys. Some gentlemen need to raise their hands too. Colby's been raising his hand, but it's mostly been girls so far. Gentlemen, represent. Come on.
What
If Aurelia was here, he would be raising his hand, right?
No, I think he'd be listening.
All right, Anna, can you try to give us a rule?
Change the sign of the number. If it's a positive, just like make it a negative. Erase it.
Okay, I'm going to write that down. Yeah, so I like that concise rule. Here we go. Here's our rule for opposite. We'll give it a star, and my star is upside down. Can I try a right side up star? Okay, there's a right side up star. So I heard change the sign. And this is exactly in your own words. I'm going to add in some of my own words. Change the sign of the number. And then, so your example here would be, I'll just do a ton of them. So negative 13, the opposite of negative 13 will be, shout it out, 13. The opposite of 100 becomes negative 100. You guys see it. You just change the sign. Cool. Easy peasy. And the last thing that I want to talk about is the reciprocal. Oh wait, can I move on?
No, I still need to talk about
Raise your hand if you want a little bit more time to write down the notes.
like 5 minutes.
No? Okay. Here we go.
Is this the last thing we're doing?
Reciprocal is the last thing that we're doing, yes.
Just making sure.
Okay. Reciprocal. All right. So I want you guys to try to think back into either last year or whenever you learned reciprocals. What is a reciprocal?
Just because she never taught us this.
Yeah.
Reciprocal.
This was our math teacher.
Yeah, this was
She's teacher thing.
Reciprocal.
Just as
Okay. I'll give you some examples. I'll let you guys see if you can figure it out. Ready? Here are some examples. Write them down with me and see if you can figure out the rule. Negative 2/3. The reciprocal of negative 2/3 is negative 3/2. Here's another one. Let's say positive 1/4 turns into 4/1, which is also equal to what? 4/1?
4.
4, yeah. I heard Elliot and Colby give it to us. 4. All right, so now we know what a reciprocal is, right? So can someone in their own words explain to Mr. Sindel what the heck is this reciprocal? Okay, I see 2 hands. I'm going to give you guys more time to think. The reason I pause here is to make sure we actually can get through the math. I'm not asking it just to get one quick answer. It's always the same person answering then. There's some gentlemen representing. Thank you. I see Chew's hand. I see Jane's hand. Martin is up.
I know what it is.
Oh, now there's not enough girls representing. Come on. Think about this. What is a reciprocal? All right, Chewy.
Okay, so I think it's the whole number, right?
What?
What is it? Like, do I have to explain what it is?
Yeah, how do I find the reciprocal?
You flip it so you can get the whole number. Or flip.
So you have to be careful there because in the case of the second example, we did get a whole number,
Yeah.
but we didn't get a whole number in the
Basically just flip.
Well,
First
you
one.
can make a whole number.
like a 1.5 as a decimal.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, it's
Okay, so I'm gonna write down what Chewy said, and here's gonna be our star. Okay, I'm trying to make a right side up star. It's really hard for me. I'm used to doing them. Oh God, how do you do? There's a right side up star. So flip it, bop it, twist it, all those things. Flip it. That's all a reciprocal is. You flip the fraction. Okay, so let's see if you guys can do your own example. Are you guys ready for a slightly harder one?
Yes, dude.
Here we go. I want you to find the reciprocal of negative 10.
No, I'm not doing it.
Wait.
Find the reciprocal of negative 10. Write it down in your notes. That's supposed to be an arrow here. Negative 10 turns into what when I take the reciprocal? Okay. Colby's ready. India's ready. Chewy's ready. Ellery's ready. Jane's ready. Martin's ready. Beverly's ready. Caroline's ready. Anna's ready. Caroline, give it to us. 1 over negative 10. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Do you guys agree? I agree as well. And that can be written a lot of different ways too. When I have a negative fraction, this can be written as negative 1 over 10, or it can just be written as negative 1/10. All of these are the same thing. But yes, you do have the correct answer. Thank you. All right. That is the end of the lesson. So go ahead and do your summaries now. It's a pretty short lesson. So write your summaries. As soon as you finish the summary, I'm going to take your notebook and I'm going to give you the worksheet. All right. That concludes the video. Thank you for watching.